The following program may contain adult language and mature subject matter and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Welcome to the Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts Kevin Newell and Julian Luke, right here on Reality Radio 101. To contact the gentlemen right now, email them radio@victorycigars.ca. And now, your hosts of Canadian Cigar Scene, Julian Luke and Kevin Newell.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Canadian Cigar Scene with myself, Kevin, and sitting beside me is Jew. How you doing, Jew?
I'm doing great. I couldn't be any better. The kids are back at school, and just life is grand.
Oh, buddy, there you go. Jays are still in the playoff hunt. Kids are back at school, having the odd cigar in the hot weather still, which is a good thing, right?
Yeah, and you mentioned the Jays. I think they're playing in Fenway tonight, and our friend Chris from up in Peterborough, I believe he's down at the game enjoying himself at Fenway Park. So if you're listening, Chris, wish we were there.
Absolutely. Hey, we had a pretty cool experience last week when we taped an interview with a couple of folks in Toronto when we were at a cigar event at Alec Bradley, Canada with Joe Bondi. We met a guy named Dean Parsons from Epic Cigars. Remember that?
I couldn't believe that guy. Like, I mean, he came from, where's he from? It's like Labrador or something, some crazy place like that.
Is it Newfoundland or Newfoundland?
Not sure. I think it depends if you're from down there.
Eyes to buy.
No, but Labrador, that's the part on the mainland, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, like, how do you even find cigars in Labrador?
God knows. Yeah, he's got a pretty cool story to tell us, and we taped a pretty cool interview with him, so I think we're gonna run into that in about 1 or 2 minutes, I think. And in between that time, I just want to say hello to somebody in Egypt who's now listening to us, and actually another person in Nepal. Like, what the hell?
I love it.
Nepal?
That's a road trip just waiting to happen.
Oh, Jesus.
Thank you very much. I'm listening. Thank you.
See, we've got him on the line. He's on the line. Wow, that's pretty crazy, isn't it? Still got a lot of great support in Canada and the U.S. I got to thank everybody for listening, and all the other countries as well. Anything else on your mind before we go to the interview?
No, I think there's been a lot happening. You know, when I was sitting in the humidor the other day, and I thought about when we opened this store, 6 years ago, and at the time we didn't have, other than obvious people like the House of Horvath that have been making cigars in Canada, but I couldn't really identify a specific brand. And now today, I mean, we're looking at Mombacho, Dominion, Paul Stulak, who was on the show just the other week.
Last week, yeah.
And now we've got Epic Cigars, so things are really changing in Canada.
Yeah, and this isn't just people that just decide to get somebody to make cigars. These are actual manufacturers and doing a fantastic job, too. So it's pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah, the guys are going down there and pulling a complete Jonathan Drew, wandering around, shell-shocked and Esteli, and next thing you know, making some acquaintances, and before you know it, they're opening cigar shops.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It is, I got to admit. I think we're all queued up for the old interview. Would you like to have a listen? What do you think?
I would. Let's listen.
Gary, we all set? Let's give her a go. All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Canadian Cigar Scene. We're sitting here with Dean from Epic Cigars. Welcome to the show, Dean.
Guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Great to be here in Canada with Joe from Alec Bradley, Canada, and getting our distribution up and running for Epic, and happy to be here.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sitting here as well with Julian and my co-host, and of course, the incomparable Joe Bondi. Welcome to the show, Joe. You've been here before?
Yeah, I've been there before, and I'm really excited about repping
the Epic Cigars Canada for Canadian Boy, and everybody that's tried it so far is really excited. So we want to tell you a bit more about Epic Cigars.
Absolutely. Well, me and Julian have just dipped into this this Maduro. I mean, talk about a rich, oily Brazilian Maduro wrapper. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, it's a Brazilian. The wrapper is actually called Arapiraca. Is the pronunciation for it. It's fantastic. Super difficult to work with at times for the rollers, but Rolando, who runs our factory in Santiago, has been working with the wrapper for many years, and he's done a great job for us on that blend.
Okay, so I think we'd like to probably back up a little bit and get a little bit of your history, Dean. Apparently, you know, this goes quite well with the Canadian cigar scene. You are a Canadian boy, Joe says.
Yeah, born and raised in Labrador, Canada, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Way up north in small town Wabash, Labrador. Left Labrador when in 88, 89. Went to University of New Brunswick. Actually played hockey for a stint in Quebec, in Laval, Quebec, with the Quebec Major Junior team there for a short time in 1988. And I went to the University of New Brunswick after that, where I played hockey, and I was a police officer in Fredericton, New Brunswick for almost 10 years.
Holy jumping. How the heck did you get into the cigar business then?
I left Fredericton, New Brunswick in 2004 and moved to the Turks and Caicos Islands, which is in the Caribbean. They're about, I don't know how many miles, maybe 90 miles southeast of the Dominican Republic. Went there with a friend of mine who we played hockey together, and we were roommates in college, and he was working there for a real estate group. I went there on a vacation and got offered a job, and went back to Canada, packed my bags, and moved to Turks and Caicos.
I guess one too many new winters in Newfoundland. It was quite an easy decision for you.
It's cold, and so about a year after I arrived there, I moved from operations into real estate sales, and we had a lot of clients flying in at that time from Canada, the U.S., worldwide, you know, on their jets, coming in their yachts and sport fishing boats, and you couldn't get cigars in the Turks and Caicos. So the developer, the company that I was working for, said, Dean, you know what, you need to go to Santiago and make sure we have cigars here for our clients, you know, when they're coming in and out. And so I started flying to Santiago in 2005 and just buying cigars, doing factory tours at Fuente and Davidoff and Aurora and, you know, all the kind of the common factories there, and bringing cigars back. We had a humidor in our office, and just had cigars for my clients. And I did that in 05 and 06. And in 07, I met a guy named Eddie Fontana. I was staying in a hotel in Santiago, and he took me to his factory one morning and kind of went through the whole gamut with me on cigars and blends and wrappers and fillers. And he said, you know, why don't you do your own cigar? And I left after that weekend probably having more knowledge than I ever had in the cigar industry, and got back to the Turks and Caicos and started to think about the island and what people were going there for, and how the island was growing and the history of the island. And so I developed a brand called Turk Select Cigars, and we called it the Turk Select 1841, which was the first cigar. And we blended that in Santiago in 2006, late 2006, and we launched it in 2007. And we had it in all the hotels and resorts and the duty-free shops. And
so was it a difficult transition to get to import into Turks and Caicos?
No, not so much, because it's a short flight. Air Turks and Caicos flies weekly to Santiago and to Puerto Plata, and to even Santo Domingo. So we blended the cigar and let it sit for 3 or 4 months, and then we shipped it over, and we were bringing in, you know, a couple hundred boxes at a time, and it kind of grew from there and had a great response. It was a Sumatra wrapper and Dominican filler and binder, a super light to medium cigar, but we wanted something that maybe would fit into the real estate market, and we were donating proceeds to the National History Museum in Turks and Caicos. And we called it the 1841 because in 1841 there was a slave ship that sank off the coast of Turks and Caicos called the Troubadour, and some of the original settlers for Turks and Caicos were on that ship.
Wow,
it was going from South Africa to Cuba, and sank off the coast of Turks and Caicos. And
that's a great
so that was
story.
the kind of, you know, I wanted to have a cigar, but I wanted to create a story and give back to the community in Turks and Caicos as well. And so that was really how I got started.
A nice tribute.
Yeah, but late 2008, when the economy crashed and worldwide, the project that I was working for, everything shut down. Everything stopped. I mean, worldwide it did. And I ended up getting hired by a developer out of South Florida, out of Fort Lauderdale, to work with a project, pre-construction project on the north coast of the Dominican Republic. And I moved there full-time in 2009. And the project never got off the ground. They were paying me to be there, but it just never got off the ground. And so I started going weekly to the factory, met Rolando, who was our master blender, and I had met him previous, when I did my Turks and Caicos cigar. And we started spending time together, and I was just, I had a passion for cigars and wanted to figure out what I could do to get more involved in the industry. And the Turks and Caicos cigar kind of dropped off because of the economy, and I had someone there who was doing things, and we were shipping cigars and we weren't getting paid, and it just didn't work out. And so I just kept working away, but visiting the factory and spending time and smoking and working on cigars, but just because I enjoyed it. And in 2010, I was sitting on the beach one afternoon. I Googled EpicCigars.com just to see if it was available, and it came up. It was available, so I bought it. And then a year later, not even a year later, the next week, I trademarked the name in the U.S. I said, how come someone doesn't own this name? Because I followed the boutique industry in cigars, and from Room 101 and all these guys that are coming up through and Drew Estates. And
it's a great handle.
Yeah, it's a great name, and no one's bought the .com or trademarked it. So I went through that process, and then spent more time with Rolando. We started working on blends, and we set a launch for 2012. And had a few stores in Miami, and we've kind of grown from there.
So what was your first IPCPR?
Actually, last year in Las Vegas. So our first IPCPR wasn't until 2014.
14, okay.
Yeah.
And how'd that go for you?
Fantastic. At the time we arrived there, we had about 14 retailers, and we got 20 new retailers at the show last year.
And that's your ultimate goal, is to gain retailers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I met Joe and Justin, and they had just started Alec Bradley Canada, and I had heard about them, and obviously being Canadian, I wanted eventually to have distribution in Canada and to connect with distributors, and we met and talked, and at that time I don't think really they were in a position to bring on new brands, and I kind of had a great show, and then continued to grow our retailers.
Well, it's funny. Joe has a knack for picking winners, and it seems like so far you guys have got a great relationship going together, and I mean, did you have the vision that you'd see these coming to Canada at some point in time?
Well, when I smoked a cigar first in 2014, and I liked it, and you get a new guy, and they come to the ICPCR, and is he going to be there next year? Right. And he's there next year, and I smoked it again, and you know what, this is good. This is we got to move on this product before somebody else grabs it. And we'd had a year with Alec Bradley, and they said, we're fine with that. Start expanding your lines, and so we talked, and now we're running with it. And I tell you, it's a great cigar, and Dean's a great guy, and he's learning.
Well, I think we should clarify something for some of our listeners too, because we've mentioned IPCPR a couple of times, and they might think that's a city or a store. It's actually the biggest North American premium tobacco show, and it's once a year. And anybody who's anybody in the cigar industry, sooner or later, winds up at that trade show, I think.
That's exactly where you have to go to cut your teeth in trying to get retailers. So have you found it's been a difficult to get influx of your cigars into the U.S.? Has it been a difficult thing?
It has been. I mean, I started in 2012, and I would walk into a lot of shops at that time in Florida and New York and areas, and the retailer would outright ask you, have you been to the IPCPR?
Yeah.
And I knew of it, but didn't understand the impact. And a lot of retailers, basically, they would say, thanks for the sample, but we'll be in touch, and then they never were. So we've been able to, I've focused and grinded, and we have almost 100 retailers now in the U.S. But that is a direct result of the IPCPR for sure, and then being at the trade shows. And you know, the first 10 or 15 were just I was out there knocking on doors and putting cigars in people's hands, and some retailers really gave me a chance.
At the ICPR, from one year to the next, you can see 25 distributors fall away. Like they're not even, they're not there the next year. And the reason being is they're not doing a good product. They're not doing their marketing properly.
It's a funny thing in the cigar business. I've even found it on the on the retail and on the shop floor ourselves that you can throw anything in a person's hand once or twice at a great price, whatever it is. But if it's a shit product, people don't come back for it. And obviously you've got some stake, you've got something going here now. Developing brands or blends, is that typically what you do with yourself?
Yeah. That's what I do, and with Rolando, and I also, and it's not just Rolando who's been in the business for many. He's known Joe for 30 years.
Rolando and myself go back to 30 years with Tropical Tobacco. Rolando used to make cigars for me 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And at that time, he was renowned as one of the best blenders. He learned from Pedro Martin. Pedro Martin, who's a relation to Ralph Montero, it's like one big giant family. And they know tobacco like nobody else knows. And Pedro Martin was renowned as him and Fuente as one of the best blenders in the world at the time. And Rolando was working for Pedro Martin. So when I met Dean and I found out, he's working with Rolando, oh my God, it's just like you got one of the best blenders in the world. And that sold me right there. That sold me right there.
It's a funny thing, this whole business, for being such a a large business, the tobacco industry, it's so small. Everybody knows everybody, and it's not an easy nut to crack. But if you get in there, and you do a good product, people take notice, obviously. So where does your company going from here? He says with a big sigh.
You know what? I'm sighing because
you're going to Germany.
Actually, we gained distribution in Germany as well with a group at the IPCPR, and I head to Germany on the 16th of September.
Is that for Dortmund?
Yeah. Okay. For the Dortmund show, we'll be there for 3 days, and then I'll be meeting with retailers there. And the group that I'm working with in Germany, they have in their network, in their retail network, they have over 500 retailers.
Wow.
So I can't even get my head around that at this stage, but to back up, even coming here for the launch tonight with Joe and the family and all the retailers he has in his network. Just the last 2 days with Justin yesterday and Joe today, I mean, I thought it was coming to visit retailers. The cigars, the orders have already been placed. I mean, we visited 6, 7 retailers today, and they're Epic is on the shelf. And this yesterday with Justin, and tonight we've had several retailers show up and take product with them, and it's going to be placed tomorrow. So I'm overwhelmed, to say the least. And being from Canada, one of the things I always wanted was for my cigars to be available in Canada, but I didn't see that coming for many years. And for that to have happened as quickly as it did, I feel blessed and really fortunate to be here.
Well, we had got wind of it at IPCPR that I think we had sat together at breakfast there, and it brought me back to a guy that had walked into my store about it was at least a year and a half ago, and he said, can you get Epic Cigars? And I was like, Epic Cigars? I don't even know what you're talking about. So of course, right on the internet, check out your webpage and go, I don't know about this one, and then next thing you know, I see you now, and I can guarantee you'll have some shelf space in Victory as well. We really look forward to carrying your product. It looks like an exciting new line, and Joey, looks like you got another winner on your hands here.
Well, but I like it. It's priced right, the flavor, the aroma. It's just a great cigar.
Yeah, I think that explains it.
I was never a big fan of Dominican cigars when things first started out, but now they've come a long way. We're using Nicaraguan tobacco, using. Tell them about the blends.
We have 3 different cigars now that we have in the market. The Maduro, which was the first blend I created with Rolando, you know, back in 2010, we started working on that.
And I don't think, just to interrupt you, I don't think I've seen this oily of a Maduro wrapper in a long time.
It's
rich.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's just creamy, but it's got that sweetness to it. It's got a Cameroon binder on it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that's
binder,
right. That's giving it that sweetness, isn't it?
And we've got Dominican and Nicaraguan. So in the filler, we've got some Nicaraguan Viso and Hierro and Seco.
Okay.
And it's hands down my favorite cigar. You know, it's been rated 93 in Smoke Magazine, actually at the IPCPR this year.
Oh, congratulations. Fantastic.
Thank you. The Habano was rated 6 months ago in Smoke Magazine 91, and we have a Corojo, which was rated almost 2 years ago in Smoke Magazine 93. And the Corojo is a Corojo Ecuador wrapper, Dominican filler and binder.
Okay.
And the Habano is a Habano Ecuador, Cameroon binder, and then Dominican Nicaraguan in the filler. A little different combination than the Maduro. It's a little bit lighter, but all three cigars are full flavored and medium to full bodied. And
yeah, I think that suits the Canadian palate these days, doesn't it? Guys are looking for something with a little more punch to it, aren't they? And I think with the Corojo and with that Ecuadorian wrapper, you're going to get that nice bit of spiciness to it, which is right.
It's fantastic. So we're going to introduce that here in the next little bit as well, and. Yeah, just we're really happy. I mean, to be not just, I mean, you know, I knew that I didn't really know Joe's history until after the show and until we started spending some time together. You know, his history in tobacco, which goes way back, but to be associated to a brand like Alec Bradley and during the show in New Orleans, I had a chance to meet with Alan Rubin and have some conversation and it was fantastic. I mean, he's a fantastic guy. They built an incredible brand, and to be associated to that is overwhelming.
You know, Joe sold his first cigar to Adam and Eve.
He's been around that long.
It was a perfect after Apple cigar.
Eve is still upset.
Still not
That's right. At least his clothes didn't smell like tobacco. I mean,
That's right.
he wasn't wearing it. It's all good. Well, it sounds like things are going gangbusters for you. It sounds like you got that excitement, and it's nice to see that fire in someone's belly to continually come up with something new, and gives have you got something in the back of your mind what you're going to be working on next?
Oh, I've been working on stuff for the last 6 months.
Never stops, does it?
And now we're going to do some special sizes for Canada in our existing blends. And I'm also working on some new blends in general.
We're going to come out with 10 packs for Canada.
See, that's terrific.
Which is very important.
Beautiful.
It is. It is. You know what I mean? That's where Joe is a groundbreaker in this business. Is where he said to guys like Alan Rubin, give us some of our own. Give us something for us. Throw Canada a bone, and not many companies will take that risk on. They think, well, Canada, not a big market, it's not worth doing, but it is. It's a big market, and people should take note of what we're doing in Canada. And the things that we're interested in, and you're one of the groundbreakers in that.
Well, what happens is in Canada, whatever happens in Canada happens in Europe. Because they look at what Canada does, they bring it to Germany, they bring it to Sweden, they bring it to the UK. And say, you know what? We know what we're doing here.
That's right. Well, you've been in the business long enough, you know it, Joe. So, kudos to you, and kudos to you as well, Dean, for developing some fantastic product.
Thank you.
I'm curious because so much of what happens in business. I mean, Joe, you're not a party of one. You've got Helen, you've got Justin, it's your family. Alan, it's his family, his boys behind the name.
Yeah.
Any thoughts to bringing any of your family into the business? Are they chirping at you?
You know what? My brother's a firefighter in Halifax. He's got 2 young boys. My sisters are older and families, and so right now it's just me. I have one business partner who's a doctor in New York. He's a chiropractor who invested with me almost a year and a half ago, and and that's why we've had such a strong following in New York and New Jersey, because I've been able to spend a lot of time there. And
you adjusted everybody's back at the
ICC. He was at the show doing chiropractic adjustments.
That was great.
Super guy.
So have you found the saturation in certain areas there, other than New York? Is it difficult to get into like Texas, California, that sort of area?
I just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
And I have a couple stores in California. I've got a couple in Phoenix. Florida, we've got 4 or 5. it's just I just need to get around and to build a team. A team of sales reps.
That's the key, right?
We're
get the right
on
people
that now, and but when I kind of been focusing in New York and New Jersey and taking care of the clients that we have there because we've got some amazing retailers there, and now to be here to support the launch with Joe and Alec Bradley Canada is important, and I'll be back and forth I think a lot in the next 12 months to do events.
We're gonna help Dean out with Buffalo, and maybe we can go to Detroit.
I've got a friend. His son owns a hedge fund here in Toronto called Epic Capital Management. So I'm just thinking that's going to be the first sales call.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe we do something special for them, Joe, and for some events, and
that would be.
We would love to welcome you. Oh, are you?
We're coming out to your shop tomorrow.
Perfect.
Yeah, and we stopped at we actually stopped at our last stop today was at the Toronto Stock Exchange.
See Keel.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, did you?
Excellent. He's now carrying Epic Cigars.
Awesome.
On the shelf today. So
awesome. Oh, that's good. Well, you know what? We we thank you for your time. We wish you all the best. I'm sure this thing is going to go gangbusters, and we look forward to having you in the shop. And short notice, I know, but you know what? Can we get you back for a serious launch of this product at some point?
I'd love to. Yeah. With Joe, we can work out the dates, and thank you so much because really the what I've done to date as far as marketing has been Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and we've got amazing following and amazing support, and we're still very small, and but having opportunities to be on your show, through Justin and Joe, I've heard about what you're doing in the industry and the followers that you have. So it's thank you for coming tonight and giving us the opportunity to be a retailer, but also to share what you're doing in the industry, because I think it's important, especially for small companies like Epic.
Absolutely. Well, we're small as well, and you know what? I mean, you got to use every bit of leverage that you can. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I mean, they're monumental for us, and we work together in it, and nothing better to a customer likes than posting a picture on Instagram or Facebook, and boom, someone answers them back, and it goes out to all their followers. So everybody out there, keep an eye out for Epic Cigars. They're coming to Victory Cigars. Okay, thanks again for your time, guys, and we look forward to seeing you in the shop.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Awesome.
Wow, I really sound like that?
Yeah, you really do sound like that.
Jesus Christ, I gotta work on my voice. It's nasty.
Oh, everybody thinks you're just going to be hung like a bull gerbil with that voice.
For sure. What a great guy, eh? That was a lot of fun at that event too.
Great story.
Yeah, well, he's got a hell of a story to tell, and he's just a great guy. He really was a nice guy. So we had him, and we have had quite a bit of success with Epic Cigars in the shop so far in the last week.
Guys are liking them. If the Colonel gives it a thumbs up, that's a good cigar.
That's right. That Maduro Lancero, fantastic smoke. Really is a nice. It's as I say, it's a beauty.
It's a beauty.
Yeah. Quickly, we're Jesus Christ, we're getting close to running out of time here. Let's do some events, G. What do you think? I'm going to. You know what? There's only two real big events right now that are on my docket. First off is the second annual October Cigar Fest, Saturday, September 19th at the shop. It's going to be fantastic. What do we got going on there?
A little bit of beer, a little bit of food.
Beer.
The official Oktoberfest cigar, I think if we can work something out with Terrence Riley, our friend from Quesada, who was on the show a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
The Maple Suns are going to be playing.
Oh, yeah.
And our friend Craig is going to be getting his squeeze box out and is going to be playing the Beer Barrel Polka and numerous other Oktoberfest favorites. So,
oh, buddy,
it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be a shaker for sure. Don't forget our we just booked a Cigar event. It's going to be our first sort of accessories event at Victory Cigars on October 17th. That's a Saturday, correct?
Yeah, and Rich is coming. Rich Gambino is going to be in the house, I believe, from Cigar HQ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a really nice guy as well, and he's thrown it out there that there's going to be a ton of swag, Cigar swag, to be exact.
It's perfect, right before Christmas, for that person you're looking to get something for.
Yeah, for sure. What do we got going on in cigar scene happenings?
Well, we want to give one more last shout out to the Rake Club. So tomorrow is their first annual golf tournament at Woodbine Golf Club. That's September 9th. It's going to be a cigar-friendly event. To Lou Jardulo and everybody, looking forward to seeing you there. And I hear that Vince Albanese might be in attendance as well from Distribution GVA in Montreal. It's always good to see Vince.
Hey, Vince.
Our friends at Village Cigar Co., these guys just don't stop. They've got a Red Wing Boots and Pabst Blue Ribbon event in downtown Oakville on Thursday, September 10th. A bunch of other stuff on their website, too. And I just saw another event that I didn't have time to get on my itinerary, but I believe Evan from Cigar Experience in Niagara has quite a big event he's got coming up with this fall. I forget the name of it, but it's an actual, like a Canadian premium cigar show that he's doing. So Cigar Experience, check that out on the World Wide Web, and you ought to be able to find Evan's shop in Niagara. Lastly, a quick shout out to our friend Jogi. So Jogi is the owner of Celebrity House of Cigars. If you are traveling to Canada and going to be in the Oakville area, head on over to 117 Cross Avenue in Oakville. It's just off the Highway 403. Jogi is fabulous. He's one of our favorite guys in this business. He's been around since God was a kid. So low tech, no tech that he doesn't have a website, but he is listed in the Yellow Pages online. So Celebrity House of Cigars is your place to go in Oakville. And that's about it for Cigar Scene Happenings. People can always send us information if they want to get listed at radio@victorycigars.ca, and we'll be happy to spread information about any cigar events they might have.
So get off your ass and send us an email and let us know what's going on in your shop in Canada. It's the most important thing that's going on. That's why we call this the Canadian Cigar Scene. Next week's guest, we're switching channels here a little bit.
This is going to be a little different.
Yes. Next week as a special guest is Michael Parks of Parks Pipes. Probably one of the he's a local pipe maker out of Beaumont, and he's probably one of the top 10 freehand pipe makers in the world.
This guy does something with briar that you have to see to believe.
Yeah, you got to check out his website. parkspipes.com is off the charts, and that'll give you an idea who's coming in next week. That's pretty much a wrap. I'm going to go a little bit of contact information. Email us at radio@victorycigars.ca, like you said. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter. Fuck, I got a cramp. Oh.
Well, we got some dead air. You can always check us out on Facebook or Instagram at Victory Cigars, and our Twitter handle is at Victory Cigars. To listen to past shows or see upcoming guests that are coming, go to www.cigarscene.ca. And now, my cramping friend, we'll turn it back over to you to wind it down.
Jesus. I was drinking that bottle of water here in the studio. I'm going, I haven't had any water today. It's not like it's not 900 degrees outside.
Chateau Oshawa. It'll do that to you.
Jesus.
It's got a kick.
Oh, my God. Well, guys, thanks again for listening to Canadian Cigar Scene, and it's time to go and have a cigar. Cheers, guys.
You've been listening to Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts Kevin Newell and Julian Luke, right here on Reality Radio 101.